There are growing calls for some Republican candidates to drop out of the race and coalesce around an alternative to former President Donald Trump. But some Republican candidates are bucking those calls. And I spoke to Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota about his own plans.
George Will wrote an article last summer, the most qualified presidential candidate you've never heard of. That's our challenge. We just got to get our name out there. But we're happy warriors, and we're excited about the opportunity. We believe in America. We believe in freedom and liberty. We believe in driving the power back to the states and back to the people.
George Will did write that. He also just wrote this week that Senator Tim Scott should drop out of the race and endorse former Ambassador Nikki Haley. What's your response to whether it's George Will or Newt Gingrich or others who say this field has to consolidate to give oxygen in the room, politically speaking, for a real Trump alternative to emerge in the race?
I say that this is one of the reasons why my favorite president is Theodore Roosevelt, because at the turn of the century last year, he said, wow, we got party bosses and political insiders and pundits and media, the big newspapers at the time, trying to figure out who the candidate should be in both parties and trying to narrow the field and block people. And he really promoted the idea of the presidential primary. He said, let the people rule. And 98% of the delegates will be available after the New Hampshire primary is over. No one has to panic. No one's got to drop out. Competition's good for the Republican Party. It's good for America. Everybody plays in those two entities if they want to, and when they play in those two entities, then those voters, not the pundits, those voters are the ones that actually get to narrow the field. That's the way democracy works in America.
Are you confident you're going to make the debate stage for the next Republican primary debate?
I'm confident that we're going to make it, and if we don't make it, this is. People say presidential debate like there's some gravitas around this. This is a reality TV show for a couple hours. And I talked to plenty of people that said, I watched it and I'm never going to get those 2 hours back, because it's not actually helping the American people understand the strengths and weaknesses of the candidates.
Have you complained to the Republican National Committee about your concerns?
I haven't, because I don't complain about the rules. I understand that people make the rules. There two people are making the rules inside of a clubhouse. They set the rules, and there's plenty of other people weighing in. And they said we weren't going to make the first one, we made it. We weren't going to make the second one, we made it. You and I could actually be talking about policies that matter to the American people right now, but instead we talk about a process question of, are you going to make it? And it actually, even to people in Iowa and New Hampshire, doesn't matter that much, because they've got a chance to actually meet candidates and hear them, and they're making their decisions. And that's why the polls are changing. That's why 5 out of the 7 winners in Iowa weren't leading a month before the contest in the last decade. Same in New Hampshire. These things get decided in January. 75% of the voters in those states right now aren't even really paying attention to the presidential primary. It's still early. So there's a lot of movement that goes on, just like in the football season. And we're excited about, we're planning to be there when the playoffs start.
I saw you were just out in Utah at Senator Mitt Romney's E2 summit. A lot of major donors were out there. What was the reception for you among Romney's inner circle?
Well, Paul Ryan, also a number of other potential Senate candidates that are coming forward, a great set of business leaders from around the country, and the reception couldn't have been more positive. I mean, it was, of course, when you're talking to a group of people that have created jobs and built businesses, and you're the only job creator, the only business leader who's also then taken those business skills and shown how you can actually shrink government. It's one thing to win in 2016. We won in 2020 by 40 points.
But what are they saying to you behind the scenes? A lot of them must know you even personally from your business work over the years. What are they saying to you about your campaign?
They're saying, we love what you're doing. We love the messaging. Hang in there, keep going. And plenty of them are saying, hey, how can we help? And getting their checkbooks out. So it's fantastic to be in a group like that, because those people actually understand the power of what executive leadership could mean when translated into government.
So you're in it. There's no question about it. You're playing for the early contests. All this chatter in Washington, you seem to be ignoring it. You're in the race, and you're running to win.
You got it. That's the headline right there, because, I'm not selling a book. I'm not running to be a cabinet officer. It's flattering when people say, oh, you'd be a great cabinet officer, A, B, C, D.
Not running to be on the ticket with Trump or anyone else?
No. This is all I've ever done my whole life is either be the CEO or the chairman of something. And when I've done that, ask my shareholders. The amount of wealth I've created for other people, it's why people are willing to invest in what we're doing, because they know that they can trust me. They know I operate with integrity. We know that we'll have a mission, a plan, a strategy, and that we're going to drive results. And they know, and people now know that all of this that I'm doing right now is out of a heart of service. There's lots of other things that we could be doing, but I do this because I care about the country.
And one thing I noticed listening to you for over an hour here is you never bring up former President Donald Trump. This is your message. Is there a reason you just decide not to go there, whether it's on policy or politics?
Well, I don't criticize any of the other candidates either, because I feel like when you're the least well-known candidate, I learned this when we were a startup company. I went to my first Comdex in 1983, and we're a 10-person startup. I thought there was about 8 other companies that were going to be selling accounting software on PCs. I got there, I picked up the trade show thing. There were 63 accounting software companies. I had just bet the farm, literally mortgaged the one asset that I had to put into this company. There's no internet. I had done all the research I thought I could do. All of a sudden, I got 8 times as much competition as I thought. I didn't decide, oh, let's change strategy and start attacking the market leaders. Anybody that walked by our booth, we said, we need to tell you about what we'll do for you, not about what the other guy won't or what the other guy did or didn't do. And we did that, and that's how we built our reputation.